Hi Math 8 students, today we're going to continue our work with Pythagorean triples. Pythagorean's theorem can be used to determine if a triangle is a right triangle or not by substituting the measurements of the legs and hypotenuse into the theorem and checking to make sure it works. If the values satisfy the formula, the triangle has to be right. If not, it's not a right triangle. So use Pythagorean's theorem to determine if the given triangles are right triangles. So in the last lesson, we developed the formula a squared plus b squared equals c squared, which is Pythagorean's theorem. And when we have a right triangle, A and B represent the legs, or the two sides that would make what looks like the right angle. And then C is the hypotenuse, or the side that is diagonal from the right angle. So we're assuming that in this case, these three sides are giving us a right triangle by putting that right angle mark between the 9 and the 12. But we want to prove that it is or isn't a right triangle by substituting those lengths into the formula. So I like to go in size order. We can have A as 9 squared plus B as 12 squared equals C, which is 15 squared. 9 squared is 81, 12 squared is 144, and 15 squared is 225. Now, if 81 and 144 actually equal 225, then we have proven that this triangle is indeed a right triangle. 4 plus 1 is 5, 4 plus 8 is 12, carry the 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So 225 equals 225. So this is a right triangle. And our work proves that. Period. All right, so let's try another. So again, in this case, we could always go in size order. If we're trying to prove if this is a right triangle, it looks to me like this would be where our right angle is. So we're going to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared again, with a being 3.5, b being 4.2, and c being 4.5. Now these I definitely don't know off the top of my head, so we'll use our calculator. We can do 3.5 squared is 12 and a quarter, plus 4.2 squared is 17.64, and last 4.5 squared, which is 20 and a quarter. Then we want to add these two to see if they actually add up to 20 and a quarter. We can use our calculator so we don't make any silly mistakes. So we have 12.25 plus 17.64. Oh, I made a mistake. 12.25 plus 17.64 equals 29.89. So because these are not equal, this is not a right triangle. And again, our work is the proof or the justification that now we know it's not a right triangle. Okay, let's try another. Oh, nope, I lied. You're doing 3 and 4 on your own. Then you can come back to do some more with me. All right, so now we're going to make it a little bit more challenging. Again, we want to figure out if the following sets of lengths will form right triangles, and we're going to show work to prove our answers. So now we've got some irrational numbers as our side lengths. For example, the square root of 73 there. So I'll walk you through how you would do a problem in this case. So for this one, again, we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Our a is the 3 squared. Our b is the 8. And our c is now square root of 73 all squared. Okay? So now we know 3 squared is 9. We know 8 squared is 81. But not 81, I lied. 64. I was doing 9. So now we need to do the square root of 73 all squared. Well, we know that square roots and squares are opposites. For example, if I do 5 squared, I get 25. But if I do the square root of 25, I get 5. So by squaring a square root, they just cancel each other out. So we get 73. And we know that 9 plus 64 is also 73. So we have now proven that this is a right triangle. So again, if it satisfies the equation, the side lengths make a right triangle, and it is considered a Pythagorean triple. Let's try another. Okay, so again, we have another irrational number there with the 5 radical 7 that we need to work on. So we have, again, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and we're going to enter them in that order, even though it looks like the 5 radical 7 is the smaller number. So now we have 9 squared plus 9 squared equals 5 square root 7 all squared. Another way of saying square root is radical, so don't be confused if you hear me say that instead of square root. So now we know 9 squared is 81. And to do this 5 radical 7 squared, we're going to square the 5, which is 25, and we're going to multiply it by 7 because squaring the square root of 7 just cancels out like we saw before, and then we multiply those together because when you have two things squished together, that means they're being multiplied, kind of like 5x, right? 5 is being multiplied by x. So 5 radical 7 or 5 square root 7 says that we're multiplying square root 7 by 5. I have 5 square root 7s. All right, so now I have 81 plus 81, and I get 25 times 7. So I like to think of 25 as multiples of 4. I know 25 times 8 is 200, so 25 times 7 is 175. Then 81 and 81 is 162, which does not equal 175. So this is not a right triangle. So I hope you're catching on and you see how this is not that challenging, and I'm sure that you can get it on your own. Let's see what else we have in store for you. All right, so continuing, we have 2 radical 7 or 2 square root 7 centimeters, 6 centimeters, and 8 centimeters. So we go through the same process again, this being our A, B, and C, which is Pythagorean's theorem, testing to see if these lengths will make a right triangle. So we have 2 square root 7 all squared plus 6 squared equals 8 squared, always entering them in the order that they appear. So now again, 2 times 2, or 2 squared rather, is 4 times 7 because the square root and the square cancel out, plus 6 squared is 36 equals 64, if this is a right triangle. 4 times 7 is 28 plus 36 should equal 64. Then we can add 6 and 4 makes 14, carry the 1, 2 and 3 makes 5, and 1 more is 6, and 64 equals 64. Therefore, these side lengths do make a right triangle. All right. Number 8, now I have 2 irrational numbers that I have to work with here. Again, entering them in order as a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We have square root 3 all squared plus 9 squared equals square root 84 all squared. So that's 3 plus 81 equals 84. Because again, remember, the square root and the square cancel each other out. And 3 plus 81 is 84. So once again, this is a right triangle. All right. So you are now going to try numbers 9 through 12 on your own. Again, I'll be circling around to see if you've got it, and definitely there to help you out if you need me. All right, good luck, guys.